Cork's Red FM.
104 to 106.
You know, obviously, like, we had a bad day out against Galway, and, you know, Galway are a team like that can take you to pieces, like, if you give them any bit of room. But overall, I suppose we're happy enough the way the league went. You know, we bred a lot of new players and had a good all run in it, you know, and you can't beat games like bringing you up to the intensity to get ready for championship, but this is another level now and we're looking forward to it.
You mentioned new players, and breeding new players leaves, well, I won't call you an old guy, but the more established forces like yourself under a bit of pressure, and it means you have to up your game as well.
I'd call myself an old guy now, it seems, but yeah, obviously, like, bringing in the younger fellas for competition, you know, brings the team on a lot, like, you know. A lot of young fellas have done very well as well, like, and we're looking to them to have a big impact in the championship this year. I think we have a good blend between the two, like, you know, so obviously, like, a few of us only have a few years left, like, and we're hoping to make the most of it.
I suppose in the early months of the year, and I suppose after Michael Fennelly lifted the Lee McCarthy last September, inevitably talk turned to 5 in a row for Kilkenny. But all of a sudden, based on their match against yourselves in that Alliance League final, it's been Galway who've been written up as All-Ireland champions, and I suppose indirectly that's a bit of a compliment to yourselves as well.
Well, a small bit, like, you know, but the league in the end of the day is the league, like, and it doesn't tell the whole truth, like, you know. You know, teams are kind of training throughout the league, throughout games, like, you know, other teams are rested, so it's hard to know who's where, like, and you won't really know till championship. Obviously Galway are looking very good at the moment, Kilkenny will always be there, and Tip as well, like, you know, so it's hard to know who's up where in the pecking order, but at least this year there seems to be a lot of teams in a challenging position to take on Kilkenny, I suppose, you know, this year.
I suppose you mentioned those three counties, and then you mentioned yourselves. I suppose that is really where you see yourselves at the moment, probably the fourth team in the country, but that doesn't say that you won't be around in September to deny Kilkenny and get back to where you were before Kilkenny's run started.
Yeah, well, obviously Kilkenny are the main team in Ireland at the moment after winning the last 4 and going for 5 in a row, but I'd rate all the rest of the teams just behind them, you know, in the challenging pack. We all have the same mindset. We're all, you know, going for the next game. Obviously Cork and Tip is the big one, and we can't look any further than that. Obviously tradition throughout the years has shown that anything can happen in these games, like, you know, so we're just looking forward to it and hopefully a good day out. You know, Munster is such a minefield now, like, you know, with quality teams in it, like, you know, anyone can kind of beat anyone. Obviously Tipperary have been on the top of that list for the last few years, like, you know, and it's up to the rest of the counties to chase them down and hopefully get a victory over them, you know, but anything can happen really. Limerick are obviously there in the semi-final for whoever wins this game between Cork and Tip, but no one can look past it really, you know, it's Cork and Tip at the end of the day.
Talking about so-called B teams with Limerick, some of the guys who were the B team while ye opted out have made their way onto the current panel. I'm sure there's no animosity there, or you wouldn't be alongside them.
Oh no, you couldn't really, to tell you the truth. You know, we're all training for the same thing and get to the same place, you know, like, so it's a united panel now, and we're just looking forward really and not looking back.
Looking ahead specifically to the Tipperary match, they've got a lot of players who've come in from underage ranks in the last few years. I suppose here in Cork there hasn't really been too many underage successes. I think this decade you're talking about when Tomás O'Leary was playing, and that's not today or yesterday.
Yeah, that's it. I suppose over the last few years, all right, we have struggled, like, you know, especially maybe 2004, 5, 6 around then, we struggled to get fellas through, which in the end of the day proved very. But now over the last year or two, we do see a good few young fellas coming through, like, and that's big for us, like, you know, we always need fellas coming through in Cork, like, in the end of the day, like, you know, you need 2 or 3 new fellas challenging every year, and that's kind of what keeps it going, like, you know. So, you know, I suppose we went through a lull for a while and maybe we're not winning underage, but we can see a few good young fellas coming through, all right.
I suppose that manifested itself a bit in the league as well. Dennis didn't pick the same team for 2 successive games, and probably there wasn't even 2 games within the whole 8 games in the league that he actually picked the same team. There was a lot of changing around. Gad's getting plenty of experience, including in the league final even.
Yeah, well, I suppose he took us together before the league, and he said everyone's going to get a chance. There's going to be changes in every game, and every get a fair chance to prove what they're made of, like. And to be fair to him, he stuck to that, and every fella got a game in the league. Like, everyone got a chance to prove himself. If that meant changing fellas around in different games, so be it. Like, you know, and I think that's the best way to do it, really.
Are you happy with where you're at yourself at the moment? Obviously, a lot of joking there, and young guys coming in, and as you said yourself, one of the older guys. It is harder, I'm sure, as you go year on year. I mean, you're probably past your peak at this stage, maybe as well, or maybe not.
It's hard to know, really. Like, obviously, like I might have struggled for a year or two there recently, like, you know. But I think I've trained harder this year than I have any other year, like, and you know, hopefully, I feel confident in myself, like. But you never really know until come championship, like, you know. So obviously, like, a lot of things have gone on, like, you know, like, and there's been good points and bad points, like. It's hurling in the end of the day, and that's what we're aiming to get to the top again, like, you know. And it's going to be tough, but, like, you know, we've done everything to the best of our ability before, and we're going to try and do it again now.
Cork's Red FM 104 to 106.